This video is about using IFS, which is an incredible system of healing, to practice A Course in Miracles and be the change you want to see in the world so that you can add to the goodness, the beauty, the hope, the healing, and the harmony. And if you don't know what IFS is or the Course in Miracles is, I'll explain. I'm Amy Rose, and I have a holistic counseling and consulting practice in Florida. And A Course in Miracles is a book of wisdom about Christian mysticism that you can apply to your own personal spiritual beliefs. And the Course defines a miracle is every time we remove a block to love, either inside of us or outside of us. So, of course, that sounds good and wonderful, but sometimes it's hard to be loving or to see someone who seems unlovable in a different light, right? We need tools to help us practice that. And so IFS is a healing system that I use in my private practice to help my clients to heal from painful life experiences. Because our painful life experiences are often the root of our blocks to love. So IFS gives us sort of a roadmap of how to heal these blocks to love. And in a previous video, I gave a pretty detailed description of what IFS is and how it works. So I think that's the first video in this playlist, and I'll post a link to that IFS video in the comments here. And you know, our healing, our individual healing is the first step in being the change that you want to see in the world. And I believe that happens when we learn to access our true self, the part of us that has never been shamed or harmed or criticized or abandoned. This part of you that can love unconditionally. It's a presence within. And you might think, I don't have that, but you do. And we're going to practice at the end of this video how to connect more deeply with this presence inside of you. Because I believe love is what the world needs more than anything. And it's a divine substance that can dissolve and resolve anything that's obstructing its flow if it's invited in, which means if the blocks of love are removed. So how do we do that? Well, healing happens when we bring things to light. We make ourselves aware of the parts of us that are hurt and have unmet needs and are sort of stuck waiting for them to be met. And so we have to access this part of us that has resources and create a safe place where our true self can witness the parts of us that have been hurt in the light of loving kindness and compassion. And in extending that warmth and love, that allows what's sort of frozen and stuck to be melted and transformed into more resources that you can use inside of you and then use for good in the world outside of you. So, you know, all the pain that we experience in this world is connected to this separation from our true self. And that's when you begin to think there's something wrong with you, I'm not good enough. And that not enoughness, that separation from your real essence is the root of all harmful behavior, where we take something that doesn't belong to us, or are harmful, or invade, or are aggressive, or want to hoard resources. And so there's separation from self inside of us. There's the separation that happens between our mind and our body when we've had painful experiences that we can't feel and we go numb to. And it looks like a lack of compassion in the world outside of us. And there's separation between race, class, gender, all of humanity. And true healing and being a source of change in the world is restoring the sovereign power and dignity of every human being. Well, not even restoring it. It doesn't need It needs to be recognized and honored. It's in innately each one of us. So this disconnection from the essence, the light inside of us, is temporary. You can't really get disconnected from who you are. And IFS and A Course in Miracles are really ways that we can use to restore our connection to this part of us that has the ability to offer unconditional love and healing to parts of us that are stuck and pain in the world outside of us. And then really use our power and light for good. But what I see is a big challenge to us being self-led instead of led by parts of us that are angry or stuck or critical or judgmental or hateful, is that several of our spiritual and psychological practices tend to want to blame the ego for the times and behaviors where we choose fear, anger, guilt, shame. And you know, we cannot isolate, shame, ostracize a part of us and create healing. It, in fact, creates more separation. It cannot be done. And so IFS is a beautiful way of looking at the ego as just a collection of wounded parts that need to be welcomed home, listened to, understood, given what they need, so that they can let go of what they're holding on to, be transformed, and use their resources in a way that really serves the world inside of you, that you can then gift the world outside of you with these expressions of your light that are no longer blocked. So one of the things that I love about A Course in Miracles is it has a daily lesson. And one of my favorite lessons is lesson number 94 that says, I am as God created me. And if you're not comfortable with that word God, go ahead and substitute the word love or whatever your spiritual beliefs are, because you were made from love. Your essence is love. And there are parts of you that want to disagree with you about that and say no. And these are the parts of us that we have to turn our attention towards, not judge and shame and ostracize. So that is what I would like to do with you today, is an exercise where we turn towards a part of you that you think is really hard to love and perceive it through the eyes of your true self. This part of you that's connected to the source of all creation, however you define the divine, the part of you that was made in the image and likeness of this great creator or being that I believe is unconditional, absolute love. And pick a part that you think is super critical. Maybe it hurts people. Maybe it's disgusting or lazy, or, you know, someplace that you really judge inside of you. Maybe a part of you that can't stop eating, or binging on Netflix, or procrastinating. And we're going to meet it through the presence of yourself. And if you can't do that, good. You've just discovered a block to love, because that's another part of you that's kind of elbowing your presence out. And your self energy is never aggressive. It's never harmful. It cannot criticize. It will not intrude. It just looks at every part with, oh, beloved, what's the matter? Come to me. Let me help you and heal you. Okay? So pick a part that you really don't like. And you know what's a good way to know? It's a part that you tend to hide. You don't want other people to know you have. You hide it in shame. Shame is a big block to love. Okay? And we're just going to close our eyes and connect with this part for a little bit. And if it's hard for you to do, that's okay. We're just gonna practice. And I think it helps to close your eyes. If you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, I'll put up a beautiful picture of a heart that you can stare into and soften your gaze while we do this exercise. Okay? So are you ready? Do you have a part that you want to work with? Okay. So just close your eyes And we're going to take 3 gentle breaths, inhaling in, exhaling out, inhaling in, exhaling out. One more breath in. And this time, slow your exhale and sink into whatever you're sitting on and let it hold you up. And we're just gonna become aware of being aware of this presence inside of you that can notice another part of you with compassion and gentle curiosity. And just observe this part of you with reverence and welcome. And notice how you feel towards this part. Are you able to feel this compassion and maybe curiosity? And if not, what's happening? Maybe there's a part of you that's blocking your ability to access this presence. So see if you can notice both of these parts of you and just let them know they are welcome. And that today all we're going to do is offer them compassion and curiosity and let them know that there are no bad parts. Every part of you, even parts that seem to be doing difficult things that hurt you, are trying to help in some way. So maybe you can ask them, how are they trying to help you? And what do they need? Because whatever it is they need, they deserve to have the essence of. And see if you can offer them this compassion. And let them know this is the beginning of a journey where you are going to work with them to help them feel loved and safe and good and worthy. And then just thank them for being willing to be seen and heard. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, return your awareness back. And you know, I'd be curious to hear what that was like for you. And if it was difficult, one thing I love about the Course in Miracles is that all that is required is a little bit of willingness. That's all we need to begin this journey of removing the blocks of love. Just a little bit of willingness. So if that was really difficult, or you're like, what was that about? Maybe just spend the next week saying to yourself, I am willing to open to more love in my life. I am willing to be aware of how I block love in my life. I am willing to be willing, because sometimes we're really not willing, and that's okay too. Maybe you just need to say, I'm willing to become willing. All right? So this is the beginning of our journey together of learning how to integrate IFS in the practice of A Course in Miracles. So I hope that you found it helpful, and please remember this. Some days you can radiate your light, some days you just need to receive light, and wherever you are on your journey of being the light, you are always welcome to connect here with me at Delight the World for hope, healing, and illumination. And if you did like this video, subscribe.